Hello everyone! Today I wanted to analyze the highly suspicious black plastic bags that Chris Watts left as evidence at the oil site where he gruesomely hid his family's bodies. I've dug through the entire discovery to showcase this because, as always, this is another unsolved question. Now first, I want to go through the list. Item number 6 is a blue nitrile glove. Number 7, a black plastic bag. Number 8, the other black plastic bag. Number 10, a rake head. Number 11, a rake handle. Number 13, a partial rake handle. Number 35, Shanann's fingerprints. Number 38, the roll of black trash bags from his work truck. CD1 contains 25 images of 6 and 7, which is of the glove and one of the plastic bags. And then we have the trace packet, which contains number 7.1, debris from 7, 7.2, debris paper evidence bag. Number 8.1 is debris from number 8.2, debris from paper evidence bag. And 8.3 is hair collected from the inside of number 8. Now, as you can see, I have demonstrated all of these items for you with the numbers attached, just so we don't get confused with the numbers and the different items. So going through this entire list and reading the interpretations at the bottom here, it says 8 latent prints suitable for comparison were observed or developed on item number 7, which is one of the plastic bags. And then on item 8, 10, 13, and 38, there were no latent prints suitable for comparison that were observed or developed on those items. And then item 11 was not suitable for latent print analysis. And then the other ones are in the trace packet. They were supposed to be forwarded for analysis. And then items 6 and 35 will be analyzed on a future date. So in the trace packet, we have debris and paper from both bags, plus hair from bag number 8. There is 25 photos of the glove and bag number 7, and everything inside number 7, but not bag number 8 with the hair. Now, why wouldn't they take pictures of the hair? It's kind of important to know whose hair that was. They had 8 latent prints for comparison on bag number 7, but it doesn't mention inside the bag or outside of the bag. That's also pretty important information. I also find it strange they couldn't find prints from a rake handle or roll of bags, being someone had to have had their hands on them to use them. Lastly, they sent off the blue glove and Shanann's fingerprints to be analyzed, but there is nothing in the discovery about the findings. Again, rather important, don't you think? Was the glove on Chris, Shanann, or someone else? So we don't know where exactly the prints were on the bag. There's no prints on the rake handle, and we don't know whose hand was in that damn glove.
Phone records don't lie. People do.
You're referencing that he has 2 kids and you don't like that?
And we can't forget the suspicious phone call the mistress made while in Frederick shortly after Chris drove off with his dead family. I mean, it's rather confusing that they had Shanann's fingerprints, went to get Chris's fingerprints and footprints, but declined to give the public the answers on whose prints they were. I'm sorry, but that's a red flag for me, and I'm sure for all of you too. Are they hiding this vital information on purpose? Or one other option would be Chris pleading guilty and stopping the clock. Maybe they didn't have enough time to analyze these vital items. Or maybe I'm giving them too much credit, always having an open mind. Now, moving along with the only information I could find in the discovery, articles online, or court documents, this is the only one from the discovery that mentions the latent prints were reported on 10/1/2018. They got Chris's prints on October 4, 2018. 7 days later, they received the reports on 10/11. So it took nearly 2 months to realize they had latent prints. Wow, seems ridiculous. Then, almost a month later, he pleads guilty.
We were preparing for a murder trial, and a murder trial that was going to last years. And all of a sudden, I receive a phone call from Detective Bommelberg, and he said, "Hey, Chris is going to plead guilty to all charges."
Christopher Watts has pleaded guilty to killing his pregnant wife, Shanann, and 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste, and their unborn son, Nico.
Whoa, wait, like, we're not done. We have all these things to do. We didn't examine all the evidence. We didn't interview every witness we needed to. We didn't do all of these things that you would do in a normal investigation because he stopped the clock. We were relieved that it was going to be over, but at the same time, we felt like, in a sense, we didn't finish. While we got some satisfaction with the fact that we knew that he would never have the opportunity to hurt anyone else again, we were all left with the fact that the story was not over.
And give me a hug.
We all struggled with the fact that we didn't know what the truth was. By pleading guilty, every other case I've had, I've been able to put the pieces together. There's been signs in the past. There's things we can point to and say, look, he was a violent person before, whatever. Nothing about this case makes sense to me, but I still have to live my life, and I need to do as much good as I can for the rest of the time I have here. Hopefully counteract some of the evil.
Now, this is from one of the court documents online. It says, during the course of this investigation, items of evidence have been collected and have been sent to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation for testing. Upon receiving these items, an agent with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation developed possible bare foot impressions using their normal latent print process for non-porous items. These impressions were developed from a bag, Frederick Police Department, that's number 26 for them, which was collected at the scene where the victims' bodies were located. And these next 6 documents I'm going to show you come from articles that were reported online in 2018. So this one says, September 18th, motion states that the Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent developed possible barefoot impressions from a bag collected at the location where the bodies were found. And then an agent from CBI used a normal latent print process for non-porous items to develop the impressions according to the court documents. Latent prints are impressions created by rigid skin found on fingers, palms, and the soles of the feet. Non-porous surfaces would be those that did not absorb sweat, such as glass or metal, and thus can hold prints for a long time. The items of evidence are not described in the motion, but Rourke, who was the DA at the time, does say that they collected at the scene where the police found the bodies of 34-year-old Shanann Watts and her children, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste. Weld County District Attorney Michael Rourke wrote in the motion that the CBI has developed possible barefoot impressions from items of evidence. A non-porous bag with a possible footprint was found according to the prosecution motion obtained by People, which is People magazine, but this is online. In the filing dated Tuesday, authorities requested to take prints of Chris's bare feet so they can determine if it matches those found on the bag. That a bag bearing possible footprint was found at the oil site, some 40 miles east of the Watts home. In a motion filed in court Wednesday, prosecutors in the Chris Watts case are seeking inked footprints of both the defendant's left and right foot. The request for Watts prints comes after investigations discovered possible barefoot impressions at the scene where the victims' bodies were located, according to court documents. Now, these last 2 in the court filings really pissed me off because it is so unbelievable. So it's checked off here that they had evidence logged provided in discovery. And then the defendant agrees, and the court orders that law enforcement may discard, destroy, or return all items of evidence set forth on the attached log, and that evidence will be released according to law enforcement agencies' procedures. And the defendant waives any right to further notification before the evidence is released. A photo ID is required for released evidence. The representative of the defendant who may collect the property is Ronnie Watts. And then we have this one. It says, the defendant understands that the evidence being held by law enforcement agencies in this case could contain DNA. The parties stipulate that the defendant's identification is a disputed issue. No. Law enforcement hold evidence that contains known DNA. No. Evidence that has not been tested could be subjected to a DNA test. Yes. This case includes DNA evidence that should be preserved. No. So if they didn't finish with this investigation and go through all the evidence that they had with possible DNA on it, with, you have the glove, and then you have the bag. You have these prints. You have hair. It just does not make sense why they wouldn't preserve this material. I think it is complete ludicrous. So like I said earlier, why in the world are they hiding this information from the public? Is there something secretive that they don't want everyone to know? I mean, we're missing so many text messages from the mistress and Chris. The mistress was never asked certain questions that could possibly implicate her. And we have actual evidence that they did not further explain, look into, analyze. I mean, nothing. There's literally nothing in the discovery to even show if those were Chris Watts' footprints. Most importantly, if it was on the inside or the outside. Because let's just say that Chris was telling the truth when he said he put Shanann in the car and he put one bag over Shanann's head and one bag over Shanann's feet. That would make sense on why there would be so many foot impressions on the inside of the bag. That would also make sense why the other bag had hair in it, because it could have possibly fallen out. Or like everyone originally thought when this first case went down and Frank Rousset said himself in the sentencing that he took them out like literal trash. So if he had one girl in each bag, that would also make sense. But what were the size of those feet print? Whose hair was that? And we know that Chris was wearing boots when he was out at the oil site. So I'm not sure if he would have changed his shoes and he would have been barefoot with no socks. I don't know. That doesn't really make sense being he's at work at this dirty oil well site. And there's also no mention of Shanann's footprints being taken to possibly compare with these latent bare footprints. It really does boggle the mind. And it's almost like this case is like some type of puzzle that they've set us out to try and figure out ourselves. How hard is it to just come out with the truth unless they really are hiding something? And then in my previous video, I had found footprints on the bed skirt that was in the trash can. So I'll attach that little piece right now. There is no mention of this since they didn't do a very good investigation with this case. To me, this looks like a footprint. And remember the stain and chips on the side of Shanann's bed? So his feet seem to tell a very good story on what happened since he's incapable of telling the truth. So if everyone else knows the truth besides the public, meaning the family that was involved, the Rousseks, I would want to know whose feet prints these were. But maybe they do know the truth. It just hasn't been brought out to the public. I mean, if it was Shanann's feet, her feet prints, then just put it in the discovery, tell the truth. Like, really, what is the big deal here? Literally every single piece of this case is fishy and very suspect. But here we are almost 3 years later, and we still don't have the answers. And maybe justice hasn't been fully served on certain people, but I think just by answering these questions would bring justice for the public, even though we know he is behind prison walls for the rest of his life. It would still be nice. Plus, if it was all Chris's doing, at least we know in our hearts that we can let this go and don't have to worry about possibly implicating someone else. But they're choosing not to do that, and that's what makes it very suspect. So that's just my opinion on everything that I've showed you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think below, and have a great day.
You're referencing that he has 2 kids, and then you don't like that?
Hi. It's me. I guess just call me back when you have a chance. Bye. Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.